Hello everyone, it is great to see you. Today we're looking at another variation of the Sicilian defense. Today we're going to look at the Scheveningen variation. This variation is really interesting. It has a lot of flexible pawn structures, lots of strategic systems, and so very interesting for us to look at. The setup basically goes e4, c5, knight f3, and then here in this position d6, so kind of like a dragon, I would say. In this position, d4, c takes, knight f6, ac6, and then knight c3, and then an interesting move here, e6. And this is, they call it the French variation here. I suppose it has multiple names, but this is kind of the classical Scheveningen pawn structure. There is a pawn both on e6 and d6, and there is no immediate commitment with anything like a6 or g6, so no fianchettos, but black has a lot of flexibility. There's lots and lots. I can always do a pawn break here, here, either or here. Always can move up out its bishops here. Can do a fianchetto later on if they want to, and I can move both here, and so very interesting game. And the structure is really important because e6 and d6 is a really solid control of the white and black squares right in this position. And there are always possibilities of a knight c6, but this is still late, and so it kind of waits for white's commitment either to the king side or the queen side before developing its knight, and so lots and lots of flexibility here. White has really various choices. The first, I would say, is the English attack style, and this basically is bishop to e3, and in this position black can actually play something like let's say knight to c6, and then we can do queen d2, or even something like, as the engine suggests, f4, just really going out with our pawn structures, really taking control of the center. And also later on with queen d2 we are trying to long castle as well eventually. And so these are the kind of ideas with the English attack. Another possibility here is actually the Keres attack, and this is really interesting. It's actually going g4, and you're thinking, what? That's just crazy, but it's actually a pretty good move. It's like an immediate aggression. It is one of the most dangerous lines, just by, I think, the engine. It kind of shows that it really tries to punish black for not having committed anything on a6, because now we're going full on the king side. And we also have a really classical setup. We can actually go bishop to e2, just really saving that. More solid, slower build up. It aims for central pressure. Later on it's hoping to do something like f4, and then also something like an e5 break, and so various ideas here as well. We also have the Fischer-Sazin attack that goes f7, that targets f7 early by going bishop c4. So whenever they move here, we can actually do something like queen here later on if the knight isn't here, and then try to attack here. So it makes this kind of the vulnerable square here as well. And so for each of these very interesting ideas, I would just go back earlier to our position here. Let's say I went bishop here. In this position, it will later use something like f3, f4, or something like g3, h4, these ideas to really open up the king side. For a e5 push, this is also a possibility, although not necessarily too good. We can actually try to break up the, well, not immediately, but later on we're gonna try to do something like e5, and then try to open up this e6 d6 pawn structure. Also later on we're gonna try to target this d5. We're gonna have a outpost later on, hopefully for d5, once this get moves. And so these kind of ideas, also really fast development, bringing the bishops quickly into the game, the rooks quickly into the game, castling, and so really going forward before black can have lots of counterplay. And as for black, their counterplay is mainly going to be on the queen side. They're going to do something like a6, b5, bishop to b7, these kind of ideas. possibly a fianchetto here. Also, trying to control the center with something like queen to c7 as well. Bishop to e7, these kind of ideas. Also castles, but on the king side, they will kind of defend calmly. They won't let, they'll kind of try to get white to overextend and then strike back in its weak spots. Again, lots of flexible development here, and so lots of different variations that we can discover. And I wonder how these actually work, because these are really interesting. Oh yeah, so it shows us some of the top players. Ian Nepomniachtchi, for example. I'm so sorry, I do not know how to pronounce these other names. Alexei Sarana, Gata Kamzi, Alexei Shirov, and Maximi Vachir-Legrave. So all these famous players are playing these moves, and let's go to Explorers a bit. Oh, this is actually not free, but in this position, we can actually do something like knight c6, queen e2, yeah. Okay, and then let me kind of show you more into the curious attack, because I think this is really the most dangerous. After going g4, what White's plan is to eventually go g5 and try to kick out this knight. Also trying to follow this by h4 or something like, to really get that attack going and open all these files. And really White delays castling to focus on immediate attacks. And so Black's best response can actually be something like h5, h6 that slows down d5. They can also play something like knight c6 really early and kind of set up a counterattack in the center, or something like bishop to e7, kind of preparing to castle really quickly and defend. The engine actually really likes e5, just attacking the center immediately, also a great move as well. And another setup I wanted to show you is after playing e6, there's actually a line where you go bishop e2, and then soon, if they play something like an c6, well, we can actually castle really fast, although in this position, I don't think it might be the best move. And then we're gonna play something like after bishop e7, we're gonna play something like f4. And so really trying to get that attack going. And so eventually playing something like king h1, bring our king to safety, and then later hopefully even something like g4. And so these kind of ideas are really interesting as well. And Bobby Fischer actually really liked this style, and this is called the classical Scheveningen style, and it keeps everything really flexible and avoids too much of an overextension, but very interesting. And Black can kind of counter this with moves like queen c7, a6, and b5, really going for that attack on the queen side. And so various ideas here. I think the most important thing is this e5 breakthrough. Also g4, g5 sacrifices in terms of White. Knight d5 outpost, the center is most important. F5, f4 counter blow, and then a c file pressure as well. And so various ideas here. I lastly just wanted to share with you one little thing here. After we go e6, and then bishop goes e3, bishop to e7, what can actually be done in this position is go f3. This is called the English attack style, a kind of modern line. And in this position, what they can do is castles, queen d2, knight c6, and then long castles. And then in this position, actually a really good move would be d5. And this d5 breaks the center, and if White is too slow with going g4, g5, they can easily get a full center break and lots of activity. And so various ideas here. I think this game is really famous for a really solid structure in terms of White, lots of flexibility for Black, and various counter-attacking potentials on both sides. But really, with an immediate aggressive push per way, it can become a really dangerous, fast-paced game, and also delayed piece developments for black can be a problem. And so, yes, various ideas here. I say lots of professionals love this because of its strategic flexibility, also lots of positional potential here that you can fall in love with, but also allows for a really sharp plan. So definitely play this Oni if you are ready for it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you stay curious, that you continue to learn, and that this was helpful. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please comment in the section down below, and I will meet you next time. Thank you and bye.